Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're hearing the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any section using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Introduction to Post-structuralism in Discourse Analysis. Post-structuralism in discourse analysis offers a profound expansion of earlier structuralist theories, interrogating the complexities and fluidities of language and its role in shaping societal realities. This approach emphasizes the mutable nature of meanings, critiques the pervasive power structures within discourse, and underscores the dynamic construction of identities. Through examining how meanings are not fixed but ever-shifting, and how power infuses all levels of discourse, post-structuralism provides insightful tools for understanding the intricate ways in which language constructs social and cultural worlds. This article delves into defining post-structuralism, exploring its core concepts like deconstruction, power and knowledge dynamics, and intertextuality, and illustrating its implications for discourse analysis. Through these explorations, we uncover how post-structuralism not only challenges conventional views but also enriches our understanding of the linguistic underpinnings of power and identity within cultural contexts. 1. Defining post-structuralism. Post-structuralism in discourse analysis represents a critical and nuanced extension of structuralist perspectives, challenging and expanding upon the latter's theories about language, culture, and society. While structuralism sought to understand the underlying structures that govern all human cultures, post-structuralism emphasizes the inherent instability and fluidity of meanings within these structures. It introduces a lens that is particularly sensitive to the nuances and complexities of language and its role in constructing reality. Let's delve into defining post-structuralism and its implications for discourse analysis. 1. Origins and core concepts. Post-structuralism emerged in the mid-20th century, primarily as a reaction against the structuralist theories that dominated European intellectual thought in the early part of the century. Structuralism, influenced heavily by the linguist Ferdinand de Saussure, posited that elements of human culture, including language, could be understood as part of broader, overarching systems or structures. These structures were seen as relatively static and capable of being systematically analyzed to reveal universal truths about human society and communication. In contrast, post-structuralists argue that these structures are not as stable or universally applicable as structuralists claimed. They emphasize the fluidity of meanings, the role of power relations in shaping discourse, and the subjectivity of human experiences. Key figures in post-structuralism include Michel Foucault, Jacques Derrida, Julia Kristeva, and Roland Barthes, among others. 2. Key ideas in post-structuralism. Deconstruction. A concept introduced by Jacques Derrida, deconstruction involves the critical analysis of texts to reveal internal contradictions and the instability of meaning. It suggests that meanings are not fixed but can vary depending on context, interpretation, and the interplay of signs within a text. Power and knowledge. Michel Foucault's work highlights the relationship between power, knowledge, and discourse, suggesting that power relations are embedded in and perpetuated through discursive practices. According to Foucault, discourse not only reflects but also produces and regulates social realities, contributing to the construction of knowledge and power structures. Intertextuality. Julia Kristeva introduced the concept of intertextuality, which posits that texts are not isolated works but are interconnected with other texts through various references, allusions, and influences. This idea challenges the notion of authorial originality and suggests that meanings are generated through the relationships between texts. 3. Implications for discourse analysis. Post-structuralism has significantly influenced discourse analysis by encouraging a focus on the variability of meaning, the role of discourse in constructing social realities, and the power dynamics involved in communicative practices. It has led to approaches that analyze how discourses shape and are shaped by social structures and power relations, considering the implications for identity, social norms, and institutional practices. Examine the ways in which language is used to construct, negotiate, and contest meanings within specific cultural and historical contexts. Critique the assumptions underlying traditional analyses of language and culture, encouraging reflexivity among researchers about their own positions and interpretations. In summary, post-structuralism offers a critical lens for exploring the complexities of discourse, highlighting the fluidity of meanings, the interplay between language and power, and the constructed nature of social realities. It challenges researchers to consider the dynamic and often contested nature of language use, making it a valuable perspective for advancing discourse analysis. 2. Key concepts. Post-structuralism brings a set of central ideas that have profoundly influenced discourse analysis, challenging conventional understandings of language, meaning, and society. By focusing on the instability of meaning, the intricate role of power in shaping discourse, and the complex nature of subjectivity, post-structuralism offers a rich theoretical framework for examining the dynamics of communication and social interaction. Let's delve into these key concepts and their implications for discourse analysis. 1. Instability of meaning. One of the cornerstone ideas of post-structuralism is the instability of meaning. Unlike structuralism, which posits that meanings are determined by their place within a broader linguistic system, post-structuralism argues that meanings are not fixed and can shift depending on context, the interplay of signs, and the interpretive acts of individuals. This perspective challenges the notion of a direct, unmediated relationship between signifiers, words, images, etc., and what they signify. Implications for discourse analysis. This concept encourages analysts to explore how meanings are negotiated, contested, and reconfigured in discourse. It highlights the importance of examining the conditions under which certain meanings become stabilized, how they are challenged, and the potential for ambiguity and polysemy in textual interpretations. 2. Role of power in discourse. Post-structuralism emphasizes the integral role of power in the production and circulation of discourse. Drawing particularly from the work of Michel Foucault, it posits that discourse is a means through which power relations are exercised, constructed, and resisted. Discourses serve not only to reflect or represent social realities but also to constitute them, shaping what can be thought, said, and known. Implications for discourse analysis. Analyzing the role of power in discourse involves investigating how discursive practices serve to maintain or challenge social hierarchies, control access to knowledge, and define norms and deviations. It requires attention to the ways in which discourses are institutionalized, legitimized, and internalized by individuals and groups. 3. Notion of subjectivity. Post-structuralism offers a nuanced understanding of subjectivity, arguing that individual identities and subject positions are not innate or static but are constructed through discourse. This view contests the idea of a coherent, unified self, suggesting instead that subjectivity is fragmented and continuously reshaped by discursive practices and power relations. Implications for discourse analysis. The focus on subjectivity leads to an interest in how identities are discursively produced and the ways in which individuals negotiate their positions within a matrix of power-laden discourses. It prompts an exploration of how language constructs subjects and subjectivities, including the roles of categorization, labeling, and narrative in the formation of self and other. The key concepts introduced by post-structuralism, instability of meaning, the role of power in discourse, and the notion of subjectivity, offer powerful tools for discourse analysis. They provide a framework for understanding how language operates not merely as a tool for communication but as a dynamic, powerful force in shaping human thought, identity, and social organization. By foregrounding the fluidity of meaning, the centrality of power, and the constructed nature of subjectivity, post-structuralism challenges discourse analysts to interrogate the deep structures that underlie linguistic and social practices, opening up new possibilities for research and interpretation. Conclusion. Post-structuralism significantly enriches discourse analysis by challenging conventional notions of language, meaning, and power. Its emphasis on the instability of meaning, the pivotal role of power in discourse, and the fluid nature of subjectivity broadens the analytical horizon, enabling a deeper, more nuanced exploration of textual and communicative practices. Through its critical lens, post-structuralism invites discourse analysts to interrogate not just the content of discourse but its underlying dynamics, how meanings are constructed, contested, and renegotiated, and how discourses shape and are shaped by social structures and power relations. By incorporating the key concepts of post-structuralism, discourse analysis becomes a potent tool for examining the complexities of language as it operates within and upon the fabric of society. It allows for a critical assessment of how discourses contribute to the construction of identities, norms, and realities, highlighting the ways in which language is intertwined with issues of power, resistance, and social change. Moreover, post-structuralism's focus on the constructed nature of subjectivity and its questioning of the stability of meaning encourage a reflexivity among researchers, prompting them to consider their interpretive acts and the potential implications of their analytical choices. In summary, post-structuralism's contributions to discourse analysis foster a critical, inquisitive stance toward the study of language and communication. It challenges researchers to go beyond surface-level interpretations, to unveil the intricate processes through which discourses operate, influence, and are influenced by the myriad forces at play within society. As discourse analysis continues to evolve, the insights provided by post-structuralism will undoubtedly remain integral to its advancement, guiding researchers in their quest to unravel the complex, dynamic relationships between language, cognition, and culture. Frequently asked questions. What is post-structuralism in the context of discourse analysis? Post-structuralism is a theoretical framework that extends and critiques structuralism's ideas, emphasizing the instability of meanings, the interplay between discourse and power, and the fluid nature of subjectivities. It challenges the notion of fixed structures in language and culture, arguing instead that meanings are constantly in flux and shaped by social and historical contexts. How did post-structuralism emerge? Post-structuralism emerged in the mid-20th century as a reaction against structuralist theories. Influenced by thinkers like Michel Foucault, Jacques Derrida, and Julia Kristeva, it developed from a dissatisfaction with structuralism's emphasis on fixed, universal structures in language and culture, proposing a more dynamic view of meaning-making processes. What are the main ideas introduced by post-structuralism? Main ideas include the instability of meaning, where meanings are seen as contingent and context-dependent. The role of power in discourse, highlighting how discourse shapes and is shaped by power relations. And the construction of subjectivity through discourse, challenging the notion of a unified, coherent self. How does post-structuralism view the role of power in discourse? Post-structuralism views power as embedded in discourse, influencing what can be said, who can speak, and how subjects are formed and regulated. Discourse is both a medium through which power relations are enacted and a site where they can be contested and renegotiated. What implications does post-structuralism have for discourse analysis? Post-structuralism encourages discourse analysts to explore how meanings are negotiated and contested within specific contexts, to examine the power dynamics embedded in discursive practices, and to understand how identities and subjectivities are constructed through language. It shifts the focus from static structures to the fluid and dynamic processes of meaning-making. Can you give an example of how post-structuralism influences discourse analysis? An example would be analyzing political speeches through a post-structuralist lens to uncover how they construct national identity. This involves examining how such discourses employ specific narratives and symbols to evoke certain meanings, how they include or exclude certain groups, and how they position the nation in relation to others, thereby revealing the power relations and ideological underpinnings of such constructions. What challenges does post-structuralism present to traditional approaches to discourse analysis? Post-structuralism challenges traditional approaches by questioning the stability of linguistic structures and the possibility of objective analysis. It introduces a critical perspective that considers the influence of power and ideology on discourse, requiring analysts to be reflexive about their own assumptions and the potential biases in their interpretations. Are there criticisms of post-structuralism in discourse analysis? Yes. Some criticisms include the view that post-structuralism may lead to excessive relativism, undermining the possibility of reaching any firm conclusions about meaning or truth. Critics also argue that its focus on language and discourse might overlook material and economic conditions that also shape human experiences and social structures. How is post-structuralism evolving in the field of discourse analysis? Post-structuralism is evolving through its integration with other critical and interdisciplinary approaches, such as feminist, queer, and post-colonial theories, to further explore the complexities of power, identity, and resistance within discourse. Advances in technology and methodologies, like digital text analysis and multimodal analysis, also offer new opportunities for applying post-structuralist ideas to a wider range of discourses. What future research directions might post-structuralism inspire in discourse analysis? Future research directions inspired by post-structuralism might include deeper explorations into the discursive construction of emerging social phenomena, such as digital identities and virtual communities. It also encourages ongoing critical reflection on the role of discourse in sustaining or challenging structures of domination, opening up possibilities for research that directly engages with issues of social justice and change.